What's up, everybody? This is the Board Certified Gaming Podcast, the podcast with a podcast. That's right.
I don't even
You,
know why I do this with you anymore.
I don't know either. I should be doing this by myself in a mental institution.
Where nobody can listen.
Yes. If you could see us right now, you definitely see the podcast part, but you can't. This is an audio form, so sorry. How's it going? I'm Andy.
Yo.
Amar is with me, as
Hello.
always.
Most days.
It's a pandemic out there. Speak into the microphone, please.
Shit's getting scary.
There we go.
Feeling better about that now?
A little bit.
All right.
So we're going to try to get back in the swing of things by getting you guys an episode every week. I guess who knows where we're going to be in a month. If we're going to be alive, we don't know. By the way,
up in the air.
Shout out to all the grocery store workers, healthcare workers, everybody that is fighting the good fight right now.
Keep up the great work.
Keep up the great work. You guys are awesome.
We need you.
Us, we don't get to understand your jobs and how much you do and what you actually have to go through until something like this happens. As a collective unit, the world should better understand what you guys do on a regular basis and appreciate that on a regular basis instead of waiting for something big like this to happen to realize that you guys are actually pretty cool. So
very well said.
Yes.
Very well said.
Thank you for all you do. Today, we are going to get into something that brings us all comfort and joy.
Yeah, what's that?
Video games.
I
know, shocker. So
perfect remedy for a quarantine.
Yes. We haven't really mentioned it thus far, but there are some new consoles coming out in
We've
the future.
talked about it.
A little bit, not that much.
We talked a lot.
Not that much. I don't think that much. So the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are coming out, and we thought this episode about consoles would be a nice takeaway so you guys wouldn't be thinking about what's going on. Dare say it might console you in this time of uncertainty and panic. Say again.
Possibly.
It might console you.
Console you?
There you go.
Haha.
So before we get into that, check out the Twitter at BCG Podcast, the Instagram at Board Certified Gaming Podcast, Patreon.com/BCG Podcast is always nice. Go check all three of those out. We'd appreciate it. All right. We're going to get into it.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
Let's do it.
So we are, first off, biased because we love all video games. So we used to be console purists. Like, I am only Xbox 360.
Oh, fanboys, yeah.
Yeah, we used to just go hard for one.
Fucking middle school.
But then we realized we were being children, and also
then we got jobs.
Then we got jobs and had money, so we could afford all these other consoles.
Who needs to eat during a pandemic when we got consoles on the rise?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'll save money on toilet paper by not buying it.
True.
And then just buy a console.
True.
That's how that works. So, right off the bat, we're happy that there's new consoles coming out, period.
Yeah.
Most people, they probably have their favorite. We did at some point, but now we're accepting of all races, colors, creeds, anything like that. So we're kind of jazzed that a new PlayStation and a new Xbox is coming out. And it feels like the last one came out a long time ago, even though it was only like 6.5, 7 years, 2013.
7 years. Yeah,
I mean,
going on 7 in the holiday season this year.
The ass end of 2013, so like November. So
right, so like this November would be 7 years.
Yes.
It's typically console life cycle.
Which it still feels like, I mean, the last month has felt like a year in itself, but
you're telling me.
We're going to get them, and this might affect some things down the line, because all you're seeing now is in this pandemic is things being pushed back. So it's like whatever was supposed to happen in this March is being moved to like June and like past. So it's like all these Summerfest is moved, all these events. The WrestleMania is still happening, but that was almost going to be postponed. All these things are just moving.
They should have fucking postponed WrestleMania, honestly.
So whoever
2 days, no fans, no thanks.
So who knows what's going to happen with this? These are supposedly coming out both in holiday 2020, but who knows what the hell?
Yeah, I know that's a hot topic, is the potential of it being pushed back, which I don't know how I feel about.
I mean,
it's more money
if
there's
you
more time
think
to
about
save
it,
money.
I get it if in terms of they need the time, like people aren't doing what they need to do to meet that holiday goal. So they're going to have to push it back to like first quarter of next year. But I get why they want them to come out in holidays because that's when people are going to buy them.
Should just have fucking released them now. Now is the time.
Which
With nothing going on.
that was going to be a theory of mine. It's like, what if one just dropped next month
and there's
and
nothing,
they totally just win? They
there's
just win the
nothing
console
open.
war just because that's why Switch is doing so great right now because it's out. People can play it. It's at home.
Well, that's why the 360 was as successful as it was, because the 360 launched in August of 2005, which was nearly a full year before the PS3 did.
Yeah.
So
whoever's got the head start.
Correct. Which
they lost right away when the PS4 and Xbox One came out, just because
we're a week apart.
Yeah.
And
PlayStation
DRM
was first.
Protection by a week.
Yeah. But even you knew about it first. I think they announced it earlier.
There's a lot of different things that Xbox did that fucked that whole generation up, but they're doing better.
Yeah,
they're coming back.
The whole point of that conversation is that there has been this kind of console war, this console race between the two. In some respects, they are going to be allies. They are being friends and coming together for some things like cross-platforming. They're like, yeah, let's get together. Let's have both of our gaming bases and our players come play together. Not releasing all these exclusives. They're like, you want this game, I want this game. We'll both release it at the same time because everybody wants it. They kind of play nice. But in these console wars, when a new console is coming out, especially after last year, it's on. Like, it kind of is like, yeah, all that friend stuff, fuck that. We're going to win this time. Like, we are the gaming system.
So are you going back on your console fanboyism?
I am not. I might, but that's
just for the first year.
I think this conversation will probably give me some insight because there's a lot of...
You haven't picked a team yet?
I have not picked a team yet, but in looking at the facts of what these things are, what they can do, what they have, and their already established reputations, you kind of formulate okay, that's what I'm doing, and then I'm going to do this after. I'm probably going to get both, but it's just a matter of which one I want to get first.
That you're going to probably dedicate a good chunk of time to.
Yes, which might also be the same reasons why other people get that one first, or continue on, or change. So it is kind of about, this is my system, this is what I'm going to go with. The reasons that
it's going to be like your primary, and then the other one is your secondary.
That's your baby. All right, this is mine. It's coming out. They're probably the same time, same kind of stuff.
I hope
my allegiance is to this. Yes. So we're going to kind of get into kind of what makes them different a little bit, and then why one has probably more advantages over the other, and see if we can kind of have an idea of if you guys can figure out, or we can figure out which ones we want to get first. Because we're rich, so we're gonna get both of them. Like, we got dozens of dollars here.
I mean, these $1,200 stimulus checks are coming in the mail. That's got to be enough to cover for both.
Who knows?
That's what I'm saving my money for. Who needs to eat for the next 8 months?
The prices have not come out, though. That's the only thing. We don't, which I think it's hilarious.
They're playing chicken with each other. They want to see who's going to call it first.
I love that because I feel like it's going to be some Price is Right shit, where one is like, all right, the Xbox, we are announcing it's going to be released for $499 November 21st. And then PlayStation is going to be like, all right, PlayStation 5 coming out $450 November 17th.
3 days before.
Yeah. Like, just for some reason. Like, they're just waiting for one to start. It's bonkers to me, but I love it. Because when they compete, we kind of win. Because they want to give the biggest deal. They want more people to get it. They want to be the one that people go to. So if they're like,
welcome to a free market, baby.
I know, but if they're like, well, we're going to drop the price and get it a little bit earlier and get better exclusives and get all this other crap so people will come to us just because fuck Xbox or fuck PlayStation. We're going to be first. It's just very interesting to see. And it's clear as day that they're playing chicken with each other.
Yeah.
There's like, you go first. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And Xbox,
just say your price. Go ahead.
Xbox really needs to try to win this generation to push
do.
more units.
They do.
They're starting to slowly climb back up there with Game Pass and xCloud, and
they need to back it up.
Xbox is the credit that I will give for them is they are definitely becoming a lot more consumer friendly with their approach. Game Pass is obviously a huge hit. They're trying to get the xCloud streaming where you can play anywhere. You know, they keep trying to partner up with Nintendo and
Yeah.
other
They're
companies.
making a lot of right moves.
They're buying a shit ton of game studios too,
Yeah.
which, given current world events, I don't know how lucrative that's going to be for them right now, just because a lot of them have to work from home. A lot of them are probably delaying certain things, but they're trying to go off on the right foot. It to me, it very much seems like, especially for the last console generation, was Xbox was trying to figure out what Sony was going to do, and
Yeah.
Sony kind of won that generation because of all the fumbles that Xbox had.
Yeah. They made
Sony made
a lot
light of
of
the
wrong
situation.
moves, made a lot of PlayStation's
One
just
of the
moves
one of the
seem like
biggest
right
one
ones.
of the biggest ones that I recall is when Sony did a presentation of this is how game sharing works, and it was literally a video of one person just handing the physical copy to another person.
Yeah.
And that was to make fun of Xbox for the fact that they're like, well, you got to be
Yeah.
online always. It's tied to your account. You
Yeah.
can't,
They kind of bungled that a little bit.
Now Xbox is trying to recoup from that because obviously that killed them. You know,
Yes.
everybody was buying PlayStation. That was my primary console.
I bought a
going
I
from
was PS4 was first for me. I
yeah,
bought
I mean, I
PS4
went
first.
from playing PS2 heavily, you know, and then mixing in GameCube and Xbox
And then you switched to Xbox
to
360.
360
Yeah.
because that was where everybody was
Your
playing.
loyalty
All
was
my
in
friends.
Xbox
Yep.
360 for a while. Mine too. I eventually was like, all right,
Right.
Xbox 360.
And I love both. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not a console fanboy. If I had to pick one over the other, it's hard for me. You know, there's strengths and weaknesses to both that I
Yeah.
love very much. You know, apart from, you know, game series, franchises, the
Yeah,
controllers,
the stuff that you can't get with the other one.
correct. But it very much seems like Xbox is trying to right the wrongs that they made. So
They're trying hopefully to not make the same mistakes.
right. So Xbox is kind of low key. They've been throwing out specs here and there.
Yeah,
You know, just,
which way
this is-
before PlayStation, which was their
Correct.
problem the last time. The last time PlayStation announced way earlier
Correct.
and told people, hey, this is what it looks like.
Yep.
This is what it's going to be priced at.
Yep.
This is all this stuff.
This is
Come
what you
get it
get.
in holiday
Yep.
of whatever. Xbox is a couple months later.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh yeah, we're coming out the same
Xbox
week.
showed up on the Game Awards and they're like, this is what it fucking looks like.
Yeah.
Xbox is getting in on the jokes too. They even tweeted a picture of the Xbox One X next to an actual fridge.
Yeah.
You know, like they're making light. They're trying to basically win the console war.
They are very self-aware this time around.
Sony is now taking kind of the back end where they're kind of watching.
Yeah.
Like there's been reports that Sony is waiting on what the price is going to be until Xbox says so. But here's the thing is if Xbox announces a price that Sony literally can't compete with because they would lose money on, what was the point of waiting that whole time?
Which,
you know what I mean?
We will get into some advantages and disadvantages later. Price is one of them because it does favor one over the other. But first, there's a lot of information about the Xbox Series X right now. And a lot of it is technical mumbo jumbo that I am not super into or understand. There's a lot of dimensions and stuff that we can clearly understand. There's a picture of it. There's all this other stuff, but there is some limited information about the PlayStation 5.
Except for the new logo.
Except for what it looks like, and the new logo is just PlayStation 4, but the 4 is now a 5.
Correct.
That's it. So a lot of these things look like these things are essentially.
Have they wait? Hold on. Did they release a picture of what the PS5 is going to look like?
No, that's not out.
Because I know they did that like 45-minute presentation.
Nope, that was all
specs.
That was all specs. We don't know what it looks like. We still don't know. Which is, we'll get to that later. So right now, the Xbox. I mean, a lot of this stuff you don't really need to know. 8 cores at 3.8 gigahertz sounds pretty fast. All that other 12 teraflops, a lot of flops.
12 James Hardens.
Yeah, that's a lot of flops. James Harden loves those flops. So there's a lot of information that the specs don't really tell you, like what that means, unless you understand that. It's a lot of, okay, here's these numbers that we don't have anything to compare them to. But one thing that we do know is how big it is, what it looks like, the Xbox Series X. So it's about 6 inches.
Nice.
6 inches.
Nice.
And then 12 inches, which these are in centimeters. So I just kind of switched them to inches. So our American users to understand. For our European and literally every other country in the world, if you listen, it's 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters by 30 centimeters. So this thing is long, but not as
is it tan
wide.
and handsome?
It is long, tan, and handsome. but it's more of a tower, as you've
It's
seen.
built like a PC.
It's kind of meant to resemble a PlayStation or a PC
It's gonna have
tower.
probably the performance of a PC.
And it's going to have a lot of the hardware and a lot of the performing power of a PC, which
Damn,
is
does it really weigh 10 pounds?
it weighs about 10 pounds.
Shit.
It was like 9.8.
It's a good workout
That's
you
a
can get.
pretty big boy. So it
I'm
was
wondering how much
interesting.
the consoles now weigh.
I don't know.
Probably like a few pounds at
Couple.
least.
It was interesting to see because the Xbox One. So now we're in just size and weight. The Xbox One
thickness.
the Xbox girth, the Xbox. It is like a rectangular prism, so it is.
Xbox with
it
these
is
specs is like that big swinging dick in a
very
room.
very shafty.
Yeah.
So
PlayStation's like that naked old guy that just doesn't give a fuck. He's just there to shower.
So in looking at it, from it modeling itself after a PC, you could probably lay it on its side, so it's not as
They've announced you
high.
can. Mhm.
But I mean,
And apparently the Xbox logo will also like 'cause
rotate.
It's digital. It'll like rotate on its own.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of cool.
You could do that with the PS2.
I guess, yeah. Most of the
But
consoles,
the PS2 you had to physically rotate.
most of the consoles, you can put either on their side or
Yeah, no, this one
flat.
you can stand it up, you can
That's
put
a
it
bigger.
flat.
So
Yeah.
the interesting thing I found, which the math doesn't work, but the Xbox One X, so the most recent one,
Yeah.
is 30 centimeters by 24 centimeters by 6. So if you think about it, 15, 15, 30, 30, 24, 6.
You're throwing a lot of numbers at me here.
One is 30, 15, 15, and the other one is 30, 24, 6. 24 and 6 is 30, 15 and 15 is 30. So if you think about it, kind of the same-ish dimensions, just that
Well, they're the
length.
same in terms of like width
That length,
or length.
they were this thing is as long as your Xbox One X was wide, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it's just like so if you take 15, take away 9 and add that 9 onto the other 15, all it is basically taking some of the length or some of the width and putting it another place, if that makes sense. So it's just
Sure.
it's taking the same amount of stuff and
Mhm.
just making it a different shape. Kind of. If the math doesn't check out, I am an idiot. So it doesn't matter. But it's 10 pounds. It's a heavy thing that you're not going to want to move around much anyway. But it looks kind of mobile. Like it looks like you could take that places as long as you
10
get a
pounds
case
isn't
for
really
it.
a whole lot.
I mean, it's a weird shape that we're not used to. We're used to boxes. This is technically a box, but it's more like a fridge.
Yeah,
It is more like this giant microwave that I have. Like it's a big boy. It's got 1 terabyte of custom blah 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 solid state drive. You know what that means more than I do. Which means I just know that a solid state drive means that it's going to be faster.
Means it goes with room.
It's a lot faster than a hard drive. That's what I've looked up and it said.
Yes.
It's a lot faster.
You are correct.
Yes. I'm learning.
Yes.
And there's a lot of other stuff. Mainly these things are going to fly. They are going to compute the hell out of whatever you put into them because they are essentially PCs.
Yeah.
Ultimately, which before we get into PC Master Race, all that other crap, everybody's trying to be like PCs. Sit down. No one cares.
Wow.
I'm coming after you guys.
Jesus. Way to alienate an entire audience.
But so from what the specs we have thus far, both systems are kind of going to run the same way, but just there's going to be differences between the two.
There's going to be a little extra oomph in terms of graphical power.
And there's going to be where some are a little bit more advanced, like in one console, it's better. The other console might have a thing it does better that the other one doesn't do.
Like exclusives.
That's why
It's a big one.
this conversation kind of
Apparently
matters.
for a lot of fucking people.
They're both going to be able to do 4K, 8K potentially in the future, have all these pretty games.
Has PlayStation said that they might be able to do 8K?
I think they're both. You don't have I think they have PlayStation 5 has 10.28 teraflops, whereas the Xbox Series X has 12.
teraflops.
With that kind of processing power, there's no fucking way you can't do 8K or at least be optimized for 8K. Like that's the their max you can do. So both systems are they don't have the same exact hardware, but they're going to be able to do the same things. It's just some will do some things better than others and have more features or better features than the other, which is why this conversation is happening. Why they're not just coming together and making one box because they need to have one. Oh, this is our selling point. This
Right.
is why you should buy our thing. This is why you should get ours first. And we're going to kind of get into that now. One I like to mention is backwards compatibility.
That's a big selling point for
It's a
me.
big one.
For me personally, a lot of people don't give a shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking huge for me.
A lot of our episodes are about past games we've played and
Yeah.
stuff that we still play that has to do with a game that came out in like 2007. We
Yep.
still want to have, I still have some of my old games that I want to play.
I was gonna ask, do you still have a Xbox 360?
I do, but it probably doesn't work.
I was gonna ask if I can borrow it.
I can find it. It's the Star Wars Xbox.
I
Which
know.
hell yeah. But I will see.
If you can find it, can I borrow it?
But that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to have to hang on to our old systems in order
Right.
to play a game that we liked back in the day that they don't necessarily have or I have access to now, or I don't want to pay $40 to buy it on the internet because it's the only copy
It's
ever.
more than $40
Yeah.
too. Like I think the cheapest I've ever seen a 360 is 40, but that's with like the OG 360, and that does not include the hard drive
And it's
or
probably
a controller.
and it's probably a piece of crap.
It's probably red ringed several times. Yeah, absolutely. Power trick, baby.
Backwards compatibility really matters, and I think this is a check in Xbox's
Oh yeah.
category. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think PlayStation is there yet. They're realizing how important it is for people, but they're not they're way behind in terms of Xbox, in terms of backwards compatibility.
Correct.
Xbox has
'cause-
been doing it for years and are super good
well,
at it.
and Sony used to with the original PS3. So it all started with the PS2. The PS2 had the capability to play
PS1 games.
every single one.
Yeah.
You put a disc in and go. The original PS3 also had that same capability. If you just put a PS2 or I believe even a PS1 disc, it just worked.
Yeah.
It wasn't until they released the first slim model, because it was the original PS3, like that big,
The big
black
big
metallic.
fucker,
that like now
The
pretty
tank.
looking one. Back
Yeah.
in the day, it was kind of ugly as shit.
Yeah.
But it was like that first slimline model that they released, and then they went with like an even slimmer one with the sliding top. That was just PS3 only. If you wanted to play PS2 or PS1 games, you had to repurchase them.
Yeah.
Where I don't know why they decided to do that.
I
And then
think
even
they
with
just-
PS4, they just said fuck everything else. Like they didn't even bring
They didn't bother.
PS3 over.
Yeah.
But Xbox, at least to their credit in terms of backwards capability, when the 360 came out, it could play a
was
huge
right away.
chunk of
Yeah.
original Xbox games. And it got a little bit more difficult as we got into the digital age with the Xbox One, where they could have a few things that they could emulate, but it's no longer in terms of
It can't read anything, get anything from.
it's especially on Xbox's side of things now. It is no longer about do we have the capability to make everything backwards compatible. It's the licensing. It's all of that. I mean,
It doesn't
one
make
of my favorite
financial
games,
sense for them to do that.
one of my favorite games, Jet Set Radio Future. It's got a phenomenal soundtrack. You need licensing to play that soundtrack. Grand Theft Auto 5, or no, was it 5? Grand Theft Auto 4 just had to update the game after like being out for fucking 12 years.
Yeah, it's been out
because
for a
they
while.
had to change a radio station because the licensing agreement from one of the songs
Ran out.
expired. And they
That's
couldn't
why
renew it.
intellectual property law matters, everybody.
Correct. But that's what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
Xbox has the capability to make every game that is ever released for any of their consoles backwards compatible. They have the capability to emulate it.
It
They
just
just
might
need to
not
work
be
all the licensing and shit like
financially
that.
sound to do that because at a certain
Because not only are they going to sit there and want you to just pop the disc in, they also want to sell it to you digitally if you don't fucking own it.
So to explain why it is financially difficult why don't you just like re-sign the agreement or get the license rights or get things like that?
Shit's
Not to
expensive.
get too legal about it, but it is expensive. You also do have to track down who currently owns the rights.
Correct.
Which these things transfer, they get sold,
Yep.
they get signed away, they get willed away, you know,
Yep.
all these other things. And you can take parts of it. You can say these 3 people wrote it, so those 3 of them have control over their share of it. This person sold his share. So it's hard to keep track of who owns all of it to where you can say, okay, negotiate with all of these people who own the rights in order for us to get a license or a majority of them. It's tough to do that, especially something that's 10, 15, 20 years old. The more time that passes, the harder it is to keep track of who owns it, where it is right now. So that's why it's tough. So in terms of backwards compatibility, Xbox has been doing a better job.
Oh yeah,
Sony
by
is
far.
trying to catch up.
I mean, what is it like? How many Xbox 360 games? It's in the
There's
hundreds.
hundreds. So for Xbox Series X, from what I understand, basically every single Xbox One game is going to be backwards compatible.
I think so.
Most Xbox 360 games. So like
All the ones that are currently backwards
yeah,
compatible are coming over.
yeah, and
for
I
sure.
wouldn't be surprised if they add more. Like
They will.
they're constantly adding more.
They will.
And then a fair amount of original Xbox games too.
Again, so any Xbox or Xbox 360 is the ones that are already in the
Yeah,
backwards
those will
compatibility.
be on the Xbox 60. Yeah,
Yep, they're
Xbox
coming
Series
over.
X, no problem.
Yep.
But PlayStation, they're just like, yeah, a majority of PlayStation 4 games will be on the backwards compatible on PlayStation 5, which is like cool, but
Yeah. Again, for some people, this is not a huge selling point.
and for some people, it's like cool. I've
right.
had a lot of games that I want to play on this one that I still continue to play and are only available on the
Right.
PS4 or a few
Like
past system.
the big thing with this last console generation, every time I get into an argument with someone about which is better, Xbox or PS4,
That's a big
it's
sticking point.
there's no clear cut like which one is better. It's all personal preference.
It's what you
know,
need out of the machine.
It's like saying what's better, this apartment or this other apartment. Like, what do you need
Yeah.
out of this?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people point to exclusives. Exclusives was dominated by PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
But
100%.
I'm not big on exclusives. Like, yeah, I'll buy the console, I'll play the exclusives, but exclusives are not a selling point.
Yeah, that's not
Backwards
the end all be all
compatibility
of the
is.
device.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if I'm paying $500 for a device, I want to be able. I mean, you can do that with a PC.
Yeah.
PC, you can play the latest and greatest games.
And the old school ones too.
You can download fucking Warcraft 1.
Hell yeah.
You can play the first Half-Life.
Please do. They're
if you
games.
wanted to. You know, it's different for everybody what the selling point is, but for me, I'll drill it into everyone's ears right now. Backwards compatibility is huge.
Yeah.
Please,
and Xbox is doing it right.
Please put Jet Set Radio Future on that list.
That's
why I need your Xbox 360.
Xbox, please. We are sending
Sega
out
also, please.
Sega. We are whoever we need to talk to. Please come on the pod. We will talk to you about getting this done.
Just give me
just
the license.
One. We need one copy. We don't need like you to make all these copies and put them in, in the markets.
No,
we just need one.
No, I need you
They
to.
can. We just need one for right now. And Amar will.
I'm not going to let people come over to my house. You know what's going on outside.
Well, I'm just saying. You need the one copy.
I do.
We can figure out what to do with the rest later.
Well, I mean, I have two copies of the game. I just need you to emulate it on the console with an update so I can play it.
So, have you heard about smart delivery?
Yeah.
So
Sony's going to probably do the same thing too.
Yes. If you haven't heard what smart delivery is,
it's fucking smart.
It's smart and
Very.
It's delivery. There you go. So, if you don't know what that is, Xbox One games that have been enhanced for Xbox Series X are going to be available free of charge if you already bought the Xbox One version. A common example of I think the only major studio I've heard that actually opted into this is Cyberpunk 2077.
Bungie's doing it too.
Bungie, okay.
With Halo, if you purchase Halo Infinite, if you purchase it on one console, you have it on both.
Yeah, so if you buy the Xbox One version of Cyberpunk 2077 or Halo Infinite, you will get the Xbox Series X version to play on that.
That is as consumer friendly as it
gets.
That's
hell yeah. That's awesome.
Do you remember what a pain in the ass? Remember GTA 5?
Yeah, 2013 was awful.
And then you had to buy it again on PS4.
Skyrim, all these other games that are like, oh yeah, we were out, but we're going to release another one. You got to pay full price for it if you want to play this game on this new console that you're going to be spending.
Now this is obviously like good on Xbox's part, but this is obviously something that companies can opt into.
Yeah. Also, the developers and the publishers have to. Okay, this is a move we want to make because they are technically losing money on not selling another copy of it.
Correct.
But CD Projekt Red, hell yeah.
Now, my question
Bungie?
is going to be with that, though, with physical copies, how does that work?
I wouldn't be surprised if you get like a digital code that you can redeem. Like you get the digital version if you bought the physical version.
I mean, basically at this point...
I just said a stupid thing.
I mean, basically at this point with the CDs, do they really carry that much data on the CDs?
Probably not. I wouldn't be
because you're downloading like still like anywhere from 20 to 100 gigs depending on the game. So it almost seems like the CDs are like how it was in computers back in the day where it was just a product code.
I think there might be a thing that they do where they're like, "Hey, did you buy this?" Either you can
registers it.
You can download it like they just have a product key or something that's like, "Hey, this proves that you bought it." Excuse me.
Nice.
It proves that you bought it, and then you can just get the new one. or you are,
Yeah.
or it might be like a trade-in policy,
Or it
or
might,
something like that.
I mean, honestly, it might even just be the same disc,
Maybe
is what I would
it might
think.
work. Yeah, I don't know the facets of how that worked, but that would make sense if it's just you plop the disc in and it works.
Right. And it's just,
Yeah,
it just downloads
it won't
whatever
treat it. It
patch
won't
needs.
treat it as a backwards
Correct.
compatible game. It'll treat it as
That's
the
what I'm
Xbox
kind of
game.
more interested to see, because
Which that sounds dope.
for a lot of people that are very into buying physical, it's like, okay, is this gonna, it's gonna work on the new one. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of how. Is it gonna be like an extra code that I have to redeem by a certain time, or
Which is a
does it just,
logistical problem that
yeah.
maybe would make these developers and publishers not want to do it if it turns out that's a big headache. But I mean, good on the companies that are going to do that. That's awesome. Which this further in finishing up backwards compatibility, accessories on the Xbox Series X are going to be backwards compatible,
everything?
which is really
The
fucking
Elite
cool,
Series 2 controller, which
you don't have to buy again.
so the Xbox 360 controller has always been one of my favorite
Amar
controllers.
swears by this. I cannot get him to play shooters on the PlayStation just because it's not the Xbox 360 controller that he's used to.
It's ergonomic. It's perfect. The only controller that has come close in terms of feel and comfortability for me personally is the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which is also a very good controller.
It is.
But
So
let
you
me
can
tell
see
you,
how much he cares about this.
the Elite Series 2 controller is hands
Is
down
it getting damn near?
the best fucking controller I have ever put my
Okay.
hands on. It is my primary controller now.
So then it's good that you can use that on the Xbox Series X.
Yes, because it is like $180
You
controller.
would not want to, like, imagine if that
Granted,
thing was,
I got it as a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
But if I was somebody
if somebody just, people bought it. Yeah.
well, like, I mean, my mom got it for me for like a Christmas/birthday gift, because I said, look, I really don't ask for much. I really want this controller. I would be kind of pissed if like a year later I'm
It's
like,
useless.
sorry, mom, I don't
Yeah,
use this
it's
fucking controller
garbage
anymore.
because I got this new console. It doesn't
No,
work.
that's great.
So
I
that's
love it.
awesome. I
It's
don't know
phenomenal.
if PS5 is going to do the same. It would behoove them to, because all it is just like a Bluetooth connection. So it shouldn't be that hard.
Well,
and
and
I don't
that's the
think they're
thing is,
changing
like,
up
they
the
haven't-
button scheme anytime soon.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing is like,
Is it, if they do a cash
I
grab
think they're
move,
going
they
to.
might.
I know, but I feel like they're going to pull the same stunt as Xbox and just say,
Yes,
because
probably.
Xbox, even their new controller, like, it's still an Xbox controller. Not much has changed besides a more convenient share button,
Yeah.
and they kind of removed those little grooves by the
Yeah.
Xbox logo.
You can't use a PS4 controller on a PS3 because of that middle button, the middle
the
touchpad,
home button.
the touchpad too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
that makes sense.
No, the PS3 has the home button, but yeah, it's the touchpad.
It's the touchpad,
Correct. The
which matters.
6-axis is what it's called.
I have no idea. For some games, it matters. For some games, it doesn't really do anything, but it does do something.
I can't remember the last time
You touch the touchpad. Touch your touchpads, everybody. You don't know how long you're gonna have
I
them.
feel like it opened up. I think that's like in Call of Duty.
That's
if
how
you
you
press
check
it,
the
that's
score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like other games, I'm trying to think. I
Yeah,
can't.
it's not optimized to use in every game, but if you,
It's just there for the
it's
sake
in
of being
zero PlayStation 3 games. I'll tell you that right now.
Correct.
It's in none of them. But now,
think
if
they
you
use
can
that
use the
more
same
as-
controller,
Well,
cares?
in like the PS3 or PS2 games that you buy from the PlayStation Store, a lot of times they've used the touchpad as a start or
Yeah.
select button,
okay,
even though there is
one button.
technically a start and select button.
Yeah.
It's just called start and options.
Okay. So a lot of that, what we just talked about, is very cosmetic and very niche, meaning you either like the way things are that you can use. If you don't care about the controllers, you're not going to care that the Xbox Series X allows you to use your previous controller. If
I
you
fucking
don't,
love that so much.
it's awesome. If you don't care about backwards
Because that
compatibility,
means if I buy the fucking Xbox Series X,
you don't need.
say
You already have a second controller.
correct.
Yeah.
If you only have one, you already have a second one.
You already can have a friend now. You just need to find a friend.
Or if you're like myself, where I've got two, then there's a third
And
one.
it's a party.
Then I have to only buy one more to have four, and then hopefully some fun party games come out.
And then you just need to find 3 friends.
It's like the Switch. Remember when the Switch came out? It was like 2 controllers.
Yeah.
That
Like,
was
all right,
fucking
you
great.
already start with 2. That's
I bought another pair of Joy-Cons. I now have 4
4
controllers, and then I bought the Pro
So
controller.
you have 5.
I have 5 controllers.
If you don't care,
It's a Mario Party up in here,
yeah,
bitch.
if you don't care, that makes sense. You don't have to care. If you don't care about backwards compatibility because you're only looking forward, that's fine.
Yeah.
If
To
that's
each their
not
own.
your thing, that's fine.
Yeah.
But now we're going to get into kind of the nitty gritty of why these consoles may be better, maybe worse than the other. So we're going to start with the Xbox Series X and what advantages it has. So the first one is it's going to have a power and storage advantage right out of the box.
For the Xbox,
Yeah, Xbox Series X.
they're building this thing to butt fuck you with
this
power.
This thing's gonna move.
Oh,
12 teraflops.
this thing is gonna fucking shut my apartment down in terms of how powerful it's gonna be. Like I might honestly, oh, shit, I might have to tell my fiance that we can't have lights on.
Yeah, just take unplug everything. I need to play video games.
Why is the fridge unplugged? I'm playing Halo.
Yeah. So they said that your phone has more computing power than the computer that sent astronauts to the moon.
Really?
This thing is going to power a goddamn space station. 12 teraflops are a lot of flops.
That is a lot of
That
flops.
thing is hauling ass. And anything that you have is going to be nothing. If you put in like an Xbox 360 game, it's going to be like, are you fucking serious right now?
And they're gonna.
That's what you're asking me to compute right now?
Well, they're gonna probably do what they're doing now, where they have like the Xbox One X enhanced. So they've been going in for a lot of 360 games and enhancing like the graphical output.
So it's a little bit more that
they'll probably do.
Still,
they'll probably do the SX sex
Xbox
sex, the Xbox One X box X. They will do the.
They'll enhance them.
Yeah, most likely.
Which will make it a little bit more of a load to handle. But still, if you give it an Xbox 360 game, it is going to laugh at you at how little it's
like
going
Halo
to think.
2, he literally is a fucking block.
Yeah,
like how detailed it is.
They're going to say, oh, this is what you're giving me right now. I am one of the most powerful game systems that you've ever had, and you're handing me an Xbox.
And you want to play Banjo-Kazooie.
You're handing me Hexic? Like, really? Right
nice.
Now? Like, Jesus. So this thing is going to be just nuts at what it can handle bigger, prettier games, make them look awesome right off the gate or right out of the gate.
But they need games.
Yeah, but they need the games. The PS5 is going to be able to handle these games as well, but not to the point that Xbox Series X can. So these developers and the publishers that are making these games are going to have that in mind when they're making them for both. Yeah. They're going to be like, yes, we can make it to this potential, but the PlayStation 5 is down here in terms of processing power.
But I mean,
it's just the conversation that they're going to have.
Sure,
they might have to settle a little bit and not overclock these things because the PlayStation 5 can't handle it, and they don't want to make too many exclusives. I mean, because then they're alienating their audience who doesn't have an Xbox.
It's a difference for sure, but it's not like
it's not a huge one.
It's not like the difference between, okay, you're making a game for the Xbox One X and now you're making a game for the fucking
Game Boy Color.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. But there is still a difference, which is kind of, it's inside baseball. It's a lot of stuff that we don't have too much information on, but it's a conversation they're going to have. Can this work on both systems? Is it too much? What is the boundaries that we can cross where we can have it on both systems and it look great, play well, not have any problems? That's just, I think, an advantage an Xbox has right now in that they don't have to have those conversations about making the game. They can already handle it. Just here's the bar. Anywhere under it is fine for an Xbox. So that's kind of an advantage. So the second thing I have is that it has a design out there that people can look at. They can understand what it looks like. PlayStation. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, I'm drinking a beer and it's not going well.
You got that fucking coronavirus?
I do not have coronavirus.
You fucking better not.
I have a Coors Light.
Coors Light virus?
Yeah. So it has a design out there that people can see.
Yep.
That's an advantage in their favor, even if you don't like it, because it gives you time to get used to it.
You can also plan.
Yes.
Because I've definitely been sitting on my couch being like,
where would that
fuck
go?
Am I going to put this?
PlayStation 5, I have zero idea what it's going to look like. It's probably going to be a square box because all of them are.
It might be a fridge.
But they might switch. Xbox Series X is now a tower.
What if they just do the exact same design?
What if it's just oh God, that would be hilarious.
The exact same design, but it's just a little bit bigger.
They spent their this whole time not releasing anything, but like, all right, change the design, make it, towers are in now. Towers are in, get a tower.
Take the motherboard, take everything on the inside, buy one of those boxes,
tall.
Put it in there,
we want tall. This is too flat. Tall.
Taller, make it bigger, taller.
We need to be bigger. What's their, okay.
They said wider, make it wider.
Theirs is a foot, go 13 inches. Like it.
I want a baker's dozen in here.
You may not like the design of the Xbox Series X. You might think it's ugly. You might want your old Xboxes back, but it's at least there. You know what it looks like, and you can spend time and resources getting
the PS4
used
when
to
it first came out.
Yeah, but eventually, if you like, okay, you know what? I see it. I don't
I
care,
remember the
or
first time
get
I
it.
saw PS4 after seeing the PS1, 2, 3. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Whereas if the PS4 or PS5 is like, all right, here's what it looks like, buy it in a month, people are gonna be like, oh God, I don't like that. I'm gonna buy the thing I've already known what it looks like and been
Yeah, right.
preparing for the last couple months.
Maybe.
And it resembles a PC, so that might get some people to be like, all right.
God, some parent is
Cool.
going to go out and be like, here, I bought you this fucking computer. It's like, it's not a computer.
But it is, though. They said it has computing power.
Look, it has
It's like,
Microsoft
yeah,
Edge
but
on
says
it.
Xbox on it. I said a computer.
I mean, it has Microsoft Edge on it, probably.
Yeah, probably.
That
You can
my
browse
Xbox
the web.
One S has it. I can browse the web,
It's
definitely.
it's just the way it looks.
Plug in a mouse and keyboard and I'm done.
People will get used to it. It looks like something they're familiar with, so they might be like, you know what? Sure, let's get an Xbox. I don't know what the PS5 looks like. Another one that Xbox has that PlayStation doesn't, Xbox Game Pass.
My favorite thing
We
of the
are
last
huge fans of Xbox Game Pass.
decade. Oh, yeah.
We love them. Shout out to their Twitter account.
Yeah.
They always reply, and they're very friendly. I like
Probably
them.
because you harass them all the
I
time.
don't harass them. I
Yeah, you do.
celebrate them.
I see the DMs.
You weren't supposed to see those. Those are private. So Xbox Game Pass, if you don't know what it is, you have been living under a rock. It is awesome. You basically pay what's supposed to be, now it's Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, so you lump in gold and Xbox Game Pass for $15 a month.
Or 10 if you just want the Game Pass.
Yes, or $1 if you get a deal, which we've been getting
always
for a
have one.
long time. They always have bargains to get it. So this has hundreds and hundreds of games just ready to download and play. A lot of them are indie. A lot of them are old 360 games as well. But they have this thing where they every now and then they get a new release that's like, hey, this brand new game that's coming out that everybody wants to play, it's on Game Pass right now. Like it's coming out. Probably even Gears 5 came out a couple days early on Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
it was the Ultimate Edition too. So
Yeah,
like the
you get everything.
$80 version.
it is probably the best deal.
Well, now they're having like Game Pass Ultimate perks too. So you can get like in-game rewards
you
too.
get quests and all this other
Yep.
shit for points in which you can pay for Game Pass with it.
Yep.
If you do it enough. And it's like it's the best deal right now. You can get a ton of games they're not bad games. You've played a shitload of them.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Oh yeah.
And if you were
I
to
got to start Yakuza 0 because I had a coworker that was telling me it's really good and it's downloaded and just waiting for me to start it.
And
But
they're
Animal
updating it.
Crossing came out.
they're updating it constantly.
Oh, speaking of Nier Automata, supposedly coming on Thursday.
Ooh, I gotta play that.
The Become as Gods edition. So Wario 64
Game
just tweeted about it on Game Pass. Yeah. I've
That
heard
sounds
many
good.
great. That was a game that I missed out on because that was a game that was recommended to me along with Persona 5 and choices were made.
It's really awesome what they have in a cheap service. You'd think, okay, they probably just got a bunch of shit games that nobody really wants to play, or it's a lot of indie studios that they're just trying to get some kind of, publicity out there. These are actually AAA titles
Yep.
and games that you'd want to play.
But they do have some really good
And they
indie
do
titles,
have
too.
indie games that you can just get. The whole point is you can just, all right, I pay $15 a month
Just
or $1.
download and play the shit out of
There's
everything.
250 whatever games.
So
Pick
many
one.
games.
There's a lot of cool ones. Go play it. And if you don't like it, pick a different one.
Well, and first party titles come into it too.
Yeah.
You're saving yourself $60
Yeah.
essentially.
You're paying $15 a month for the ability to play a month's worth.
Yeah. I was
Of
stoked when
$60
Forza,
games.
when Forza Horizon 4 came out. I
Yeah.
was stoked. I was like, sweet, I can play this right now.
Sea of Thieves, Outer Worlds,
Yep.
Gears 5, all these games
Halo.
that came out on Game Pass.
Yep.
Like right away. You didn't need to
Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
you didn't need to pay the $60 to get that game, and then what are you going to do with it after? Like it's kind of worthless once you take it home. So Xbox Game Pass is a huge thing that PlayStation doesn't have. They have Xbox or PlayStation,
Well, they have the PlayStation now,
now,
which they just dropped the price to a few months ago,
which I
to
think
compete with.
they are playing catch up. Xbox Game
are.
Pass is doing it super right. PlayStation has its own game streaming service,
Which
but it's
has
not as great.
Yeah, and it has so it has a larger collection of games. It's got like 600 plus.
Yeah.
Dating from like I think a couple PS2 games, but primarily PS3, PS4.
Yeah.
They did just add Control. So they are
That's
starting
a
to
newer
add kind of
game, yeah.
newer games, but
Like I said, they're
previously-
catching up.
yeah, previously they used to just add games where it was like I think after a year of God of War being out, they put God of War on there.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, $10 a month, you can play God of War, like the 2018.
Or you can buy the classics version for $10 as well.
Right. But it's
And you don't have to worry about your internet connection.
right. I can walk into a GameStop. They were selling it like every month for like $10.
Yeah. So that's there are a couple things just like backwards compatibility where Xbox is ahead. Sony is also doing this with PlayStation, but they're not as good, not as refined.
Yeah.
They'll catch up, but Xbox is just ahead of them and they're doing it right. Xbox Game
They're
Pass
trying to, yeah.
is awesome. So I want you to talk about this one because I'm not as familiar as what this is or
Well, I don't know
where
what
it
the
is
hell
going
I'm
to come.
talking about, but let's do it.
xCloud.
Okay.
So it is a cloud gaming service.
Yeah. It's a cloud that's shaped like an X.
Yes. So if you go outside,
You'll see an X-shaped cloud,
you yell at the sky
and you
and
know
say,
instant
"Hey,
gaming streaming is
Xbox
coming.
X Cloud."
Yep.
And then there will be an X-shaped cloud that
Perfect.
shows up at,
Yep.
and then it'll rain games on you.
A warthog comes down,
Okay.
and you get into it, and then you start hearing the Halo theme.
So what is cloud gaming?
So it's when you get really fucking high.
I wouldn't know.
It's just gaming over the internet, man.
Yeah. So it's just
That's it. It's just internet gaming, but like streaming.
It's streaming games. The requirements to play the game and the console that is hosting the game is not the one that you are playing it on.
Correct.
It is somewhere else.
They're paying some IT dude to run a server room
Yeah.
full of servers.
Think of it like
server
your
rack.
controller's connection. You have a controller in your house and you're playing on your friend's Xbox down the street.
But your
TV is getting his Xbox.
But your friend has a like very uncomfortably hot room with just like 40
servers.
Xbox One X's just all stacked on top of each other like towers, and there's cables and they're all fucking plugged in, and there's you know, as my grandma says, there's beeping and there's booping and there's lights
Lots
flickering,
of beeping and booping.
but like you're playing Halo.
So we are doing a very
while
shitty
your friend
job.
is sweating about the fact that one of the servers just died, so now he has to go and replace it. But you're fucking playing Halo. You don't give a shit because it doesn't impact you. It impacts your friend.
So we did a very shitty job of explaining what it is. It is a gaming service that Xbox is.
Am I wrong?
We're kind of close, but
you know,
you are basically playing a game over the internet, but it's treating the internet like the service is treating the internet like you are playing on an Xbox.
That's what I said.
Kind of.
That's exactly what I said.
Beeping and booping, and the server's dead, and he needs to go over there and but you're playing Halo.
That's what my grandma said.
Close enough. So
servers die, man.
It's a very cool thing in that
just unplug and plug it back in.
That's where the future is going. The future, Stadia is trying to do it.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of, I think another service tried doing it on live.
Well, how is Google Stadia doing? I
that's a
forgot
whole other story.
Is the free one coming out yet? I feel like now is the time.
It's
not out yet.
No, it's not coming anymore. They need to make their money back on it.
Did they say it's not coming?
I think it's in subscription service now.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So Amar, we had an episode about it. We got our high hopes up that they would be the next thing in cloud gaming, but they're not. So xCloud though is you're going to have access to your entire Xbox library.
Has Google Stadia just become a Ubisoft console?
Yeah. There's a lot of Stadia is almost dead, but that's Google. So
this thing came out 3 months ago.
Yeah. It already sucks. People hate it.
Longer than that, actually. Couple
months. So xCloud, like I was trying to say, is Xbox's version of Stadia, meaning you can play games on your phone, you can play games on any device that you can get access to the internet and have the xCloud app on that you can connect a controller to. So if you have an iPad and you get the xCloud app, you get access to your entire Xbox library and you can play those games over the internet. So you don't need your device to have the capabilities that your console does. You just need to have the internet and an iOS that, is not from the iPhone 6 or earlier. So that'll be cool once that comes out, because then it'll tie with the Game Pass. People will be like, okay, I want to get the Xbox Series X to build my Xbox games library because I'm in this for the long term. I want to be able to play these games on the Xbox Series X. And then if I'm going to work, going to school, going on a plane, taking a road trip, I want to be able to play all the games that are on my Xbox Series X, but on the road.
Google Stadia's free tier is coming sometime over the next few months.
Well,
this was published February 5th of last month.
Amar is still waiting for the free version of Stadia, which you can...
I don't want to pay $130 for a controller I don't fucking need and a Chromecast I won't fucking use.
So don't base your perceptions on xCloud based on Stadia. That's not what works. But xCloud is a whole different thing that hopefully will be awesome in the future. We don't know. Cloud gaming is still kind of up in the air as to whether it'll be the next big thing or not. But if people like it, if people know what it is, if people understand what the concept is, I think that will shove them towards Xbox Series X just to start building their library, whereas PlayStation isn't really doing anything like that. The last one for Xbox Series X advantages is price, which I was mentioning earlier. If it's a wash and they're the same price, if both of these devices, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, come out and they're both $499, I think Xbox is going to win that one because it won't push people away like last time.
Right.
So, in theory, the people they lost in 2013 are going to be like, all right, now it's even. Price isn't a factor. So it's essentially an advantage because it's not
Unless if they're like super into exclusives.
Yes.
And even
They
those
have to look
not
at-
been announced.
they have to look at other reasons.
Correct.
So if it's the prices are the same, they won't have that be, instead of it being a disadvantage, it'll be just not a disadvantage. So
Yeah,
I think that's an advantage.
Yeah, the
to them.
exclusives talks is currently out the window. Like we can't have that conversation for at least 6 months
Yeah.
into the console life cycle because as it stands right now with announced exclusives, Xbox has more.
Yes.
But
'cause
that's not to say that Sony isn't just going to
They
all of a
could
sudden
come
show up
at
like
the buzzer and just
yeah,
here's
the
a
week that
bunch of
E3
cool shit.
yeah, the week that E3 was supposed
in
to
peace.
happen when they do their own, they they
Rest
might
in
be
peace,
like, "Hey,
E3.
here's fucking 10 God of War games."
Yeah. So it's not technically an advantage. It's just a wash because last time Xbox kind of screwed up by just, all right, here, this is the price. And PlayStation was like, okay, how about that price, but like $100 cheaper? And everybody's like, yeah, okay. You mean I can get this console and $100 and save $100? Whereas if the Xbox One, I got to buy this console and I'm out an extra $100? Hell no. So that's what those reasons are why Xbox Series X kind of has an advantage right now over PlayStation 5. That is its power and storage for fucking miles. It actually has a prototype and a look that people can get used to and look at. Xbox Game Pass is the thing. Cloud gaming
Phil
is
Spencer and Larry Erb, the two guys at Xbox,
yeah.
they've already got their hands on a Series X.
Yeah,
They've
it's-
been using that as their
people have been
primary
using
gaming
it,
console.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's out. Xbox Game Pass is awesome and just chugging along. xCloud is coming in the future, and price, they aren't hopefully going to fuck that up again.
Let's hope so.
So now we're on to PS5. Now here's why maybe you want to get a PS5 instead of an Xbox Series X.
Lay it on me.
So, while the Xbox Series X is more powerful, PS5 might be faster because they have spent a lot more time in making sure their what is it? The SSD is faster than Xbox Series X. While the Xbox Series X transfers data from the solid state drive to the game. So it takes data, puts it in the solid state drive. You can play it, all that other stuff. A lot of technical mumbo jumbo. I'm fucking this up. It takes it at 2.4 gigabytes a second. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5, 5.5 gigabytes a second.
Yeah.
It's almost double.
Wow.
That's very quickly. While both of these systems are probably going to get rid of loading screens a lot, those are going to be a thing of the past, really, because of how monstrous these things are in computing power.
Well, have you seen the demo for the Xbox?
Yes, I have. That thing is
the game
fucking nuts.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be. That's going to
surprised-
take some getting used to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony has the same capability.
It probably does, but
Right.
transferring data from the games to the solid state drive is going to be double as quick on the PlayStation 5 as it is Xbox Series
For
X.
read-write speeds, yeah.
So it might be even faster doing that. So while you have more processing power in the Xbox Series X, PS5 might be a little bit faster, which people might want that. They might, okay, yeah, I don't care about loading screens. I care about having to wait, half an hour to be able to play this game.
Right.
Whereas if I wait 5 minutes because it's on the PlayStation 5 versus, 20 minutes, that might make a difference if people know that information coming in. So that might affect some people. The next one is expandable storage. So
Very important.
just like your old PlayStations, they're gonna have like memory cards. They're gonna have slots where you can put terabyte these like storage, ultimately an external hard drive, like a memory card.
Right.
So if the storage is not enough for you, you can expand it and make a bigger one.
Which I will.
I don't know if Xbox Series X can do that.
They have the
They have a
expandable.
little bit.
Yeah, so they have that. You can buy it. It's supposed to like be like the same thing. You just like clip it into the back, and I think they're gonna be selling it for like 1 terabyte. So
Okay.
I think they said, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Series X will be 1 terabyte, and then you can buy a terabyte expansion to make it 2.
Yes, but
They'll probably sell, excuse me, obviously more than that, but
I think the PlayStation 5 has 2 slots for terabytes. So you can potentially have a little bit more storage.
yeah, but I mean, like eventually,
You're not going to need it.
Someone is going to make some sort of expandable storage that will fit like in the back of the Xbox Series X, where
Yes.
it's supposed to. That'll be like 8 gigs. Also, you could probably still plug in a USB one too to add even more storage.
But as of right now,
right,
the PlayStation 5 has been made. All right, we're going to add 2 slots for terabyte storage cards or whatever, whereas Xbox Series X only has the capability of getting 2 terabytes. So it's just a little bit more storage. That might affect some people, probably not a whole lot, but it's just a reason why PS5 might be better. This one sticks out to me because I actually pay attention and like this. PlayStation 5 is going to be paying more attention to audio.
yeah,
Whereas Xbox Series X is naturally, with making these games and having more processing power and having all these high-tech machines, you can make some pretty awesome sounding audio. But PlayStation 5 is really doubling down on that by what's called 3D audio, which is they're just making sure that anytime you're listening to a game, it's the coolest thing you've ever heard in your life. Almost picture what 3D audio means. You can just hear
audio.
Hear in all dimensions.
Sounds exotic.
I mean, that sounds awesome. And if you ever play games with headphones on, you kind of understand, okay, this is awesome when you find a game that really sounds cool. This last Call of Duty has some of the best audio design in a shooter. I want that, but just like on steroids. That's basically what they're going to try to give you in terms of PlayStation 5 handles this audio like a king. Whereas Xbox Series X, they care more about visuals and probably making sure your game looks great. PlayStation's like, yeah, but we want your games to sound great too, because that's half of the experience.
Sure.
Is what you're hearing. So that's probably a step in PlayStation 5's direction. This next one I just put in just because it makes sense. The name. PlayStation 5 is not an awful name. Xbox,
short, sweet, and to the point.
You know what you're getting.
Yep.
Xbox Series X is a mouthful. It's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. So every year, Xbox, whenever they're doing something, they give it a secret code name, and then they're like, well, we're going to release what it's called later as of right now.
It was Project
Scarlet?
Was it?
Or is that
yeah,
last
no,
year?
it was Project Scarlet. You're right.
It's stupid.
Project, was it Project
something?
Scorpio was for the Xbox One X.
It's just fucking stupid. I think it's so dumb.
I don't mind it.
I think it buys them time to come up with an
Sony
actual
has
name.
code names for their consoles too. They just don't publicly say it.
But you can guess what it is.
Well, yeah.
It's like, all right, PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5.
Broke, don't
the
fix
next
it.
one, the next one, I'm willing to bet my entire life savings will be the PlayStation 6.
Absolutely. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've got a perfect naming convention.
That's what I'm saying. That is a plus.
Xbox fucked themselves as soon as they decided that their second console was going to be named the Xbox 360. Because where do you fucking go from there?
Yeah, 720. That sounds stupid.
That's what we thought at the time.
And then they're like, how about Xbox One? So then what's the original Xbox?
The
original
OG
Xbox.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's going to be Xbox 2? No, it's going to be Xbox Series X.
Well, the reason why they called it the Series X is because I think that from what it sounds like is they're just... I don't know. I feel like we're reaching a point with consoles where we don't have to do this like big console launch every 7
Probably
years.
not. It's expected at this point. That
I feel like we've kind of
reached
the point where it was nice to see that kind of mid-console refresh when the PS4 Pro and the Series X or the Xbox One X came out. Like,
yeah,
that was refreshing to basically be like, look, It's the same console.
This
It
thing's
plays the
out.
same games.
Yeah.
It's just more powerful.
Yeah.
Trade your old shit in, upgrade, or don't. We don't give a shit.
Yeah. It's here.
And I feel like I know they had mentioned with the naming convention, there's a rhyme and a reason to it in terms of for future releases. So if they do hardware or revisions or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, and they can be like, hey, instead of the Series X, this is the Series fucking B
XA,
or whatever,
X1,
something, you know.
Series
It's just ultimately,
XI.
it's literally just going to be called just Xbox. Like
Yeah,
it's just,
which
hey, Xbox.
they are bungling this so much, but they're just digging their hole deeper. Whereas PlayStation is like,
I
we
feel
have
like
it.
I'm the only person though that like I didn't
Doesn't
really
care.
mind the name that much. I was just kind of like, my Xbox One, I call
You're
it
gonna call it my
Xbox.
Xbox.
I
yes.
just
So
say
you
Xbox.
that's it make I
Anytime I talk Xbox, just assume I'm talking about the newest
The one
Xbox
you have.
and I'm fucking playing it.
which
It's the same
yeah.
way, like I don't tell people like, oh yeah, on my PS4. I just say on my PlayStation. Like
Yeah.
I was playing PlayStation the other
Which
day.
that is how you get over that.
I'm also probably one of the very few people that doesn't give a shit about how it looks. I actually like how it looks.
I mean, I'm warming up to it, but that's the point. Is that at the
I hope
outset,
they come out with different colors, so it's not just fucking black. But
I'm just saying at the outset, the name sticks out to people as
Sure.
like, okay, what is it? Why Series X?
Right.
What's the rest of the series? What does that mean? It's just a very
Gotta wait and
weird.
see.
They just have a very weird naming convention for these things, and then I consider it an advantage for PlayStation 5 just because it's like, you know what you're getting with a PlayStation 5.
Do you though?
Pretty much.
We don't know what it looks like.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I kind of know the name kind of has a reputation behind it. You know what you're getting from PlayStation when they say this is the next step in PlayStation. You think it's going to be better, faster, stronger, probably a little bit more expensive, better games, all this other stuff. More games, more stuff that it can do. Xbox is like, all right, Xbox Series X. Yeah. And then they're going to call, what are they going to call the next one?
We'll have to wait and see.
Xbox upside down. I don't fucking care. Like at a certain point, there it is. That's my one.
At a certain point,
I don't care. I, like you, don't give a shit.
Right.
Because I'm going to play it. If it works, if it plugs in, plays games,
the
fine.
things that I'm going to look for between the two consoles are going to be things that probably no one else is going to look for.
But I'm saying these are things that people might care about if they have to pick one or the other. If you put someone in a dark room and tell them PS5, Xbox Series X, which one sounds better? Which one would you prefer? They'd be like, all right, well, this one's the 5th one in the series, so it's probably been improved on. This one, I have no fucking idea what that even is.
Yeah. Well, and PlayStation is more of a household name.
Yeah, which is my next point.
It's like Nintendo. Everybody knows what a fucking Nintendo is.
PlayStation has more of a worldwide base.
Correct.
Which is why I think if Xbox is doing anything, they're going to have to catch up.
Well, and that's why you've seen Phil Spencer spending a lot of time in Japan trying to talk to Japanese studios.
Because he's got to get them on board.
Correct. It's a big reason why Yakuza, like a good chunk of the games are coming to Game Pass. You know, he's trying to make all these different deals. You know, Final Fantasy, a lot of the games are coming because they're trying to tap into that Japanese market.
Yeah, which is
Xbox
a big market.
sells very well in North America.
Yeah, but that's about it.
But that's it.
PlayStation sells everywhere.
That's literally 1 out of 7 continents that you're great at selling.
Which I don't know who sells best in Antarctica. But somebody tell us.
You're still 1 out of 7.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And even then you're not the top seller.
So it just matters just because already Xbox has kind of, they need to catch up. They have a little bit of already. We need to make sure we didn't make up for these 6 other continents.
They're on an upward momentum now. I mean, Game Pass is a huge hit. Everybody loves it.
Yes,
it's a great idea. It's very consumer friendly. Having the ability to purchase a game on the Xbox One, and then if you say want to wait a year, you know, when you buy an Xbox, because that's the thing. A lot of people don't always buy consoles right when they come out.
Yeah,
people wait a year. They wait 2 years.
Wait till some games come out for it.
Do you know how horrible it is for somebody that just jumped out of, you know, the PS3 era into the PS4 when they waited
and then
they
another
were like,
one's coming?
I have to fucking no, not even that. Just think about somebody, myself, for example, right? I didn't buy a PS4 until
I think you got
2015.
2 years after, yeah.
2015. So about a year and a half after, almost 2 years. It was February of 2015. I had a PS3. I also had a 360. Bought this PS4. I spent $400 on it. But then I also had to get a game. So I just grabbed some random fucking Lego game because I was like, I don't know.
It was Lego Marvel Superheroes, so
Yeah.
you picked the right game.
I'm not saying I picked a bad
Yeah.
game, but you know what I mean? Like I was just at that point, I was like, I guess
Yeah, it's
this.
a game. It's something to play it on.
But this whole catalog I had just was
Was
worthless.
sitting there. Yeah.
You know? And again, some people don't care about that. Some people are, you know, I'm a PlayStation fanboy, but I only fucking play Madden every year.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like, why do you need the new system
I play
or
Call
this
of
new
Duty.
game? Because it's the
Something.
same every year.
But whatever, you know,
Yeah,
there are
to
those
each their
people.
own.
Correct. But for me, it's a lot of the things that I look for is the how consumer friendly is it? You know, what are my options? I think I played a lot of PS4, a lot. But I think the reason why recently I've been more drawn back into the Xbox side of things, and the reason why, no, not the achievements.
I mouthed achievements.
I know, I heard you. No, that's not why. The reason why I've been more drawn back into the Xbox side of things is because Game Pass already offers me for a low price all these different games. I'm also somebody that loves to accessorize my shit. So the fact that I can like go to a store and look at like 50 different colors of an Xbox One controller, that means nothing to a lot of people, but
Some it might mean more. Yeah.
that means everything to me. If I have the ability to even go online and customize my own controller, I can have it engraved. Like, again, to you, you probably don't give a
I
flying
don't
fuck.
give a shit.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I would absolutely drop what I'm doing and spend the money that it costs, which is, you know, 60, 70 bucks for the controller. You can customize what you want the colors to be. You can, you know, all this stuff. Like, I love the accessories. I love the different versions. Like, I even love that with Sony too. Like when you saw me, I'd freak out every time that they release new PS4 controller
Yeah.
colors. I'd be like, I love this.
Cool. I want that one.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a lot of the things that are like important to me is the backwards compatibility. How much do I get to customize this? You know, because I like to be unique. You know,
Yeah.
if I just walk into someone's house, I'm like, huh, you have the same Xbox as me. Like, no, I want to be like, yeah, I got
Wanna be
a
unique.
I got a
Yeah.
blue one. This is kind of cool. You know, it's a very minute detail, but
It matters.
It matters the
some
world
of
to me.
these, and some of these are going to carry more weight to others. Some of the things that we have said might
the
be
big thing that
might
pissed
stick
me
out to you
off-
more than other ones.
like I said, the PS4, fucking great console. And
Yeah.
it's going to go down as one of the best, of course.
Best selling.
Correct. Best, amazing games on there. But the one thing that pissed me off as a consumer when I first bought a PS4 was I just spent $400 on a console, and now I have to spend $20 on taxes, and then I have to spend
$60 on a game.
yeah, $60 on a game, and then well,
PlayStation
if
Plus.
I ended up picking up saying FIFA, well, I want another controller. That's $60 too. PlayStation Plus, which is for a year, $60. So
Yeah.
I'm now spending $600 to have a good time.
Yeah.
The reason why I am liking where Xbox is going is they're
That's
going to
already
name the price.
that's already built in.
They're going to name the price. The price is going to be the price, and there's nothing we can do about it. You know,
Yeah.
the shit
You are
costs money.
paying for a computer, basically.
Shit costs money. It's not going to be cheaper than $300.
No.
It's not going to be more expensive than $600.
No. I think $499 is pretty good.
It'll be $400 or it'll be $500.
Yeah.
You know, again, I could be wrong. It could cost more, but it's not going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Because shit costs money. That's just kind of how the real
And
world
if
works.
it's $750, I'm buying a computer.
If it's $750, it's $750. Again, things cost money, despite what people on the internet like to sit there and pretend like it doesn't. Like, why does this cost so much? Well, you know, you got to pay people to
Yeah.
fucking make this shit.
Yeah.
You think snapping
It's a
together
lot of
Xboxes all
hardware
day
in
is
there.
fucking cheap?
Yeah. They need to make their money back.
But the fact that even if they say it's $750 and I go to the store and I spend $750 on a console, that's what's important to me as a consumer.
Yeah.
Is that right off the bat, I have the controller that comes with it. I've already got my 2 other controllers I can use, my entire library of games I can already play on it, plus all of these new ones
That are being updated.
That
a
are being
lot all the time,
updated.
yeah.
and then these first party exclusives that are coming to the Game Pass. That's what's important to
Yeah.
me. Now, I'm not saying that Sony is not going to come out with news that's going to blow Xbox
Yeah,
out
they
of the
could
water.
completely change this discussion.
Yeah, I don't know what their marketing strategy is. I don't know what their strategy is for the PS5.
They might rest on their laurels and
I
just
don't even
say,
know what
well,
this
you're going to
fucking
buy it anyway, so here's what it is.
Correct. I don't know what this fucking thing looks like. But if you wanted my personal opinion, what's important to me is that experience straight out of the box.
Yeah.
And I always relate it to not only just for the PS4, but same with the PS2. PS2, when I first had my grandma buy it for me, the big thing was I didn't have a PS2 game. She didn't have money to buy me one. but I had a whole catalog of PS1 games that I could still
Yeah,
play
play
on
right
it.
now.
So I was like, cool, I have the new console, but I
I
can
have,
still play it.
yeah,
That was big to me as a kid. It's big to me as an adult now.
yeah.
It's huge.
So we can, based on that, we can see where Amar is leaning.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think I'm in the same direction. This is not telling you what to do or telling anyone else that their decision is wrong. You can we're gonna get both, like we said at the
Yeah,
beginning.
go with what's most important to you.
I think I'm leaning more Xbox Series X just because I have that built-in library
Yeah.
and because Game Pass will I don't have to buy a game right out of the gate. I can just play immediately and they're already going to be optimized.
Yep.
And if I want to add more games later, they're going to come out with good stuff. It's going to be not as quick as the PlayStation 4, but I think I'll get over that. And then I'll appreciate that more when I get a PlayStation 5. I'd be like, yeah, I'm used to Xbox's times, but PlayStation 5 is a lot quicker, which I appreciate. And they're going to have their own games that I'm going to play. Yes, we are in a different situation than most people in that we are going to be able to eventually afford them. If you can
Right.
only afford one, in my personal opinion, I think
Go with
Xbox
what
Series,
matters the most to you.
that is a, yeah,
It's the same advice that I offer to people when it comes to voting with politics is the same thing that I offer with console buying. Pick something that matters to you and go with
yeah.
it.
Look at
If
all
exclusives are a big deal to you,
look
if
at
it's
both
very
of them and see which one
pick the one with
sticks
the
out
most
to you the best.
exclusives. If you're like me where a giant catalog is important and you don't give a shit about exclusives, pick the one that has a huge ass catalog.
If you don't care of how fast it is, then pick the one. Look through all of the. Get as much
Yeah.
information as you can. Look through all the things you can look through, like we just went through in this entire episode, and think, okay, that really matters to me. That I care about. That I could give two shits about. So I'm not going to listen to that, or that's not going to affect my decision
If
at
you
all.
like how many colors controllers come in, pick the one with a lot of different color
Yeah.
controllers.
So it's whatever you want out of it, get out of it.
Yeah.
So pick which one you think is going to give you the best experience out of what you want to get out of it.
At the end of the day, there's no fanboys.
Yeah.
For a console, there's just fanboys of video games and girls.
And that's the whole point, is that these are going to be great systems no matter which one you pick. They're going to be awesome. We're going to have awesome years ahead of us in video games. We're lucky to be alive in this time where there's just going to be so much computing power, so much graphic awesomeness on these TVs that we have to pick one just to pick one. But if we don't, I'm not going to. They're both awesome. So get which one you think will give you the most satisfaction, and then maybe try the other one if that's an option, just to see how the other half lives. And don't judge people
Or
for
just
picking
keep playing
the
the
other one.
Switch.
Or keep playing the Switch. The
'Cause
Switch.
That's a great fucking
The Switch is an awesome console, which I think we're going to end today. Hopefully we helped.
I got one more thing.
Oh,
Side
Mara
note.
wants to say one more thing. Go ahead.
Remember HQ Trivia?
I do. Scott Rogowski.
You heard how it shut down, right?
Yes, I did.
Have you heard that it's coming back?
Coming back. Wow.
Another investor
Somebody bought that?
per Kotaku. The once massive online quiz game that last year kind of stopped paying winners their cash,
Oh, that's great.
then shut down in February, is back thanks to an anonymous investor. As the Wall Street Journal report, a push notification went out earlier tonight alerting users HQ Trivia would be resuming at 9 p.m. Which is, if they stopped it, why did people still have the fucking app downloaded?
That's what I thought, unless they just forgot.
There are no details on who this investor is, how much they've stumped up, how long the show is going to be back for, or what this actually means in terms of this being a functional company again. But, you know, hey, HQ Trivia is back.
Well, thank you, anonymous person who bought it. We appreciate it. Anonymous
'Cause
investor.
I think
you
Scott
are
Rogowski also
great.
had like a fucking meltdown live on one of the shows.
Probably. Yeah, he hasn't been the host for a while. So back to the console thing. Listen to all the information that we gave you. Look up more information about it. Don't just take our word for it. Go look and see what you can find. Look at all the information you possibly can, and then make an informed decision. You have a little while. You have a couple months.
I mean, where are you going to go? Leave your fucking house, stay
Yeah.
indoors, save lives.
This also might be pushed back a couple months. Who knows? But just take all the time you need to make a decision. This is going to be a couple $100s of your money. Some people are going to not be able to afford more than that. So just make sure to understand what you're getting out of it, what you want out of it, and make sure that you can get what you want out of it. Don't buy it and then, well, I bought it because everybody else did. Buy one that you want because it's what you want out of the system. And with that, we will see you guys next week. We hope you enjoyed it. Follow the Twitter at BCG Podcast. Instagram at Board Certified Gaming Podcast. And yeah, have a good one.
Peace.
Later.